Here we are then, everybody. Tonight could be the night when Badman takes the Purple Sector F1 League Championship here as he lines up in third place. He leads the championship coming tonight by 148 points. Glenn, though, starting on pole position, will be looking to try and extend it a little bit longer here. But after tonight, there'll be 6 races left. If Badman's got 151 point lead or more, that'll be more than what Glenn will be able to overhaul over the next 6 races. So tonight could be Badman's moment under the lights here at Singapore as we're underway here at the Marina Bay, and it looks like a good start there from Glenn, and he's going to lead into turn 1 for the time being. Ernie's going to be well ahead there of Badman going through turn 1. Badman able to hold on there from Matty Pitt as Scott looking around the outside of Matty as they come out of the first sequence of corners here. Scott is looking to the inside now of the Mercedes, and is he going to make this move? He's going to get well alongside there on the braking zone. Matty's going to get that preferred exit there out of the corner with a better run and a better radius there out of the corner, but Scott's going to be well alongside here down Raffles Boulevard. He's going to look to the outside now. Here's Scott. Can he make it go all the way around Matty Pitt here? I tell you what, he's done that one brilliantly there as Scott up into 4th place. Is that job done yet? Because Matty's still fighting this one. He's trying to keep himself there, and there's contact there as Scott puts Matty in the wall, and Drauga is going to move through ahead of Scott. So Scott there, I think, panicked as he saw that Matty was still there, kept it pinned. Now, is there damage on the cars? There was definitely debris. But it doesn't look like any major components of either car has come off, which is miraculous, to be perfectly honest with you. But Matty's up into 4th place there. Jago, his teammate there, right behind him with Scott, who's lost a place to both of those two. Rexy Boy there in 7th place, had a C-Mac followed by G.C. on White Shadow. Mango's got ahead of John on this opening lap up into 11th place. But that was an absolutely chaos there between Scott and Matty Pitt, and Scott down to 6th place as a result. Matty Pitt kept his nose in. I mean, I don't know whether... I wouldn't have done if I was Matty at that point, but fair play to him. It's kind of worked out for him quite well. Doesn't appear to have damage, or if it is, then it's very, very... much of a non-issue, but nonetheless we've got Glenn doing the fast lap of the races. He's leading the race, obviously he would be, wouldn't he? But he's got a very, very slender lead over Ernie at the moment. Ernie's keeping the pressure on him as they come through the first few corners here of lap 2, and Ernie will get DRS down Raffles Boulevard, which will give him a good chance here to try and take the lead. So Ernie's got pace here tonight, it's clear to see. The front two both on the medium tyres. Badman's gone for the hards, so he can go long into this first stint. That would explain why he's fallen off at the back of the top 2 a little bit. And he's also coming under a bit of pressure here from the Mercedes drivers as well. But interesting opening couple of laps to the race with Matty Pitt there, getting the move done on Scott due to that contact. Really, that was the reason why he's ahead. But we see John there getting ahead of Mango into 11th place. He's got around the outside there. Mango seems to be fine at the moment, actually. No major dramas there. There they all are. But no real major pressure on any of the drivers at the moment. It looks like they've all got reasonable gaps to the cars behind, apart from these two out the front, Glenn and Ernie, who are potentially about to serve up something exciting here, because Ernie's stuck to the back of Glenn very nicely over the course of this first lap. Obviously, if Glenn finishes ahead of Badman, then he'll be able to extend the championship battle. I mean, I say battle, it's not a battle, is it? It's a matter of when Badman is able to do it. If he doesn't do it tonight, he'll be still a long way clear, and Glenn will have to win every single race and Badman not have to score a single point. I say it's unrealistic, to put it nicely, but Ernie's here struggling to keep to the back of Glenn this time around, so it looks like Glenn now just starting to settle into a bit of a rhythm here out the front. Matty struggling to keep to the back of Badman as Badman's hard tyres are now going to be starting to warm up a little bit here. And Badman now starting to extend a little bit here over the Mercedes cars of Matty and Drauga. And Scott here looking to try and pull up onto the back of this battle here for 4th place if he possibly can. Matty and Drauga are going to be very much in his crosshairs at this point. Obviously he'll be looking to try and get back at Matty for that move on lap 1, which could have been a legitimate move. It all happened quite quickly. I have to see the replay to make an informed judgment, but watching it live, looked like maybe Matty was a bit over ambitious, keeping his nose around the outside there. It was kind of Scott's corner, but Scott could have also given him room. I think it's one of those where Both drivers could have avoided it if they had wanted to, but neither of them were willing to make that sacrifice. So top two here coming down the start finish straight into turn one. Once again, Glenn and Ernie separated by under a second. There's Matty and Matty and Drauga, with Scott still on the back of this. It's now a quartet, so looks like Matty and Drauga have now got back onto the rear of Badman a little bit, and this is now bringing Scott into this battle for the podium places. But as we said, Badman on the hard tyres does have the strategic advantage here, it has to be said. And he's still keeping Glenn on his toes at the moment. Looks like Glenn might have the edge, but Ernie's just able to stay within the 1 second, because every time a DRS zone comes along, it's just pulling him that little bit closer. But it seems like Glenn has control of things at the moment. I'd say that I think Glenn's probably got the advantage very, very slightly in terms of race pace. I think he's got the edge, not by much, but I think that Ernie is being carried a bit by the DRS at this moment in time, at this stage of the race. Looks like Badman's got the gap over a second here to Matty, and so now these hard tyres will be really, really up to temperature. It should be a chance for Badman to extend the gap here, as Matty looks like he's letting his teammate through down the start finish straight. So team orders there at Mercedes, and the two guys obviously agreeing there to let Drauga have a crack at Badman. So Matty now into the clutches of Scott, the driver who he collided with on the opening lap of the race. Problem is though, when the Mercedes drivers did that switch, they lost loads of time to Badman. So Badman's now comfortably there in third place with a decent... Oh my goodness me! As Matty there's dived back up the inside of Drauga. So after letting him pass down the start finish straight, he's then gone and dive bombed him and got the move back. So that's incredible stuff. And now Drauga's just out to Scott as well. So goodness knows what that was all about. Definitely looked like he let him pass down the straight, 100%. He pulled off the racing line to the inside. Drauga went around the outside, and then Matty's gone steaming down the inside. About 3 corners later, that was very, very unusual. That's Claire and Ernie still separate by just over a second at this moment in time. Ernie's still trying to stick to the back of Glenn if he possibly can here. As Scott here making a move on Matty up into 4th place. That's job done there for Scott. So now he's picked off both of the Mercedes here. But Matty will be looking to try and come back at him in a moment's time. He'll get some DRS in a few corners time, using his overtake here down towards turn 1. A little bit too far away here is Matty. But he'll be able to try and go for the reply tactic in a few corners time. And he's going to go for a wide exit here. He's going to allow a look to the inside to try and put some pressure on Scott a little bit wide. Looked like he was labouring a bit through that right hand, and now Matty Pitt is going to use the DRS to surely make this move as they come through down towards the left hand braking zone at the end of this flat out section, and he's going to make that move there as Matty up into 4th place. And it was easy pickings there for him as he returns the favour there and says, not quite so easy, is it, Scott? And now Drauga can look to try and make the move on the McLaren as well here. Rexy boys got the gap just about a second here to C-Mac, so C-Mac now struggling to keep up with the Ferrari at this point. Rexy boys teammate there couple of seconds behind C-Mac at this moment in time. White Shadow there, currently running 5 seconds behind G.C. Only a couple of seconds ahead of John, so John could be yet about to put some pressure here on White Shadow. Obviously in the first stint on the hard tyres, John wasn't able to keep up with White Shadow, but now the hard tyres starting to come into their own, and this is going to be an interesting battle here for a top 10 spot, you feel. So I'll have to come back to that one as the race goes on. But Matty Pitt is still keeping Scott and Drago at bay at the moment. But for how much longer is he going to be able to keep Scott at bay, because he's got DRS as he now looks to the inside there, and Scott's going to send one up the inside. Matty trying to hang it around the outside there, same part of the track where they collided earlier on, and Scott there had to get out of it. Drago's looking down the inside, Scott trying to hang it around the outside in the same place that Matty did. Oh, and exactly the same result, but the swapped way round, and Scott there makes his way through ahead of Matty. Exactly the same incident that we saw in the first lap, but the roles were reversed, and Scott now we're running in 4th place ahead of Matty. And Matty didn't lose out to Drago, so he's still ahead of Drago at the moment. But wow, that was it looked like Scott giving Matty a taste of his own medicine there. Great battling here between these guys at the moment, but Scott there into 4th place. Matty and Drago right behind us. Drago there looked to send one at the inside of his teammate, but managed to grab hold of himself just in time there. There's Glenn here coming over the line to start lap 8 of the race. Only about 2 seconds behind. There's Badman, who's currently running in the final podium place at the moment on the hard tyres. Maybe now starting to just get ahead of steam here. Might be able to start closing the gap to the front too. Obviously could clinch the championship tonight, can Badman, with a or if he finishes ahead of Glenn, which at this moment in time isn't looking the most likely. But a long way to go. So Glenn has now gapped Ernie by nearly 3 seconds. Ernie's really fallen off over the last couple of laps. I wonder if Ernie's struggling with the tyres maybe at this point. Badman's definitely reeling him in at this stage in the stint. I wonder if Badman's going to try and do a one-stop. I wouldn't have thought so. But who knows. A lot of slow corners around this track, so tyre theoretically wouldn't be an issue, but then again track temperatures are pretty high, so that can have well, it does have an effect. It's Matty here on the back of Scott as they're coming through the final couple of corners, still with DRS, but Scott just seems to be a little bit more comfortable this time around than he has been on previous laps, and Scott currently looking a bit more comfortable here, I have to say. Badman's now well on the back of Ernie at this point, as these guys fighting out over 2nd and 3rd places. Badman was obviously falling off of the front two a bit in the first stint, Glenn and Ernie, but Glenn's looked after his medium tyres very, very well by the looks of it. Ernie not so much. Ernie's now coming into the pits here at the end of lap 9. That now releases Badman into 2nd place. But Glenn's got a comfortable lead out the front. Hasn't looked at all perturbed over the course of this first stint. Obviously a long way to go. But, pardon me, we don't know how he's going to be on the hard tyres. But Ernie has now put the hard tyres on and is off and away. So I think Ernie's almost certain you're going to be two stopping. As Rexy Boy here has got ahead of Drauga, so didn't see that one happen, but the Ferrari's unmistakably there ahead of the Mercedes, so I don't know when and where or how, but nonetheless that's a move which has been done. So Rexy Boy obviously will be in a net P6 once everyone pits, because Ernie's already been into the pits, but Drauga here was in the fight earlier on for a podium position. How things have taken a turn. So now Rexy Boy can try and start chasing down Scott and Matty. Rexy Boy on the hard tyres like Badman is, but Badman currently a long way ahead of the other guys who started on the hard tyres. So as you'd expect, you know, he is the championship leader, and not just by a small margin either. He could wrap up the championship tonight, could our Haas driver, if he is able to finish ahead of Clen. But Clen has definitely brought his A game tonight, and maybe all too aware of the fact that the championship can be wrapped up with 6 races to go, and as the two-time defending champion, I'm sure he doesn't want that. He wants to be the one that can deny Badman at least one more week, if he possibly can. See back here trying to close onto the back of Drauga at the moment. You've got Ernie creeping onto the back of G. C. as well. So Ernie obviously has been to the pits already. He's got much fresher tyres here than the Ferrari, and will be looking to try and get through as quickly as he can to avoid any major disruption to his race. Ernie obviously in a fight with well, I suppose technically Clen and Badman, although he kind of fell off of Clen towards the end of the stint. I reckon Clen's battle is going to, sorry, Ernie's battle is going to be probably. I don't think he's really in a battle with Scott and Matty, to be honest. I think he's clear of that. So I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I think Ernie might have a lonely race in 3rd place. I think he's pretty much on for a podium. I don't know whether he's got the pace to challenge Clen and Badman. I guess these few laps here are going to be pivotal to that. But he just spent a bit of time behind the Ferrari, so that could have cost him a little bit. But it'd be interesting to see, because he'd fallen off of Clem by about 5 seconds when he came into the pits. Obviously he'll get an undercut now, but then he'll have older tyres for this second stint. It's going to be it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Scott's got a penalty, so has Matty. C-Mac here's got ahead of Drauga up into 6th place, and Drauga's lost out to Ernie as well, so both of those two making their moves there, as now Ernie trying to make the move up the inside here. C-Mac, he needs to make the move quickly. C-Mac doesn't care about that, as he's fighting, well, he's just driving his race, isn't he? Obviously he can't stop the car and let him past, because he's got, you know, his own battles in this race to try and fight. But Ernie will be getting frustrated here, because he knows he can go quicker in clean air, but the Red Bull more than entitled to hold its ground here. C-Mac a bit wide there, out of shape, feeling the pressure. Now Ernie can make the move with DRS, and surely he'll blast past. Yes, he does. And no dramas there for Ernie up into P6, so he can now continue to try and give himself as good of a gap as he can. As it stands here, I think he's going to come out, I think, a little bit behind Clen. He'll come out ahead of Badman. He will have jumped Badman due to these couple of laps out of the pits. As we see Matty into the pits here at the end of lap 12. Rexy Boy continuing on the hard tyres. So Clen, Scott, G.C. White Shadow and Mango still going, of the drivers who started on the medium tyres. So this is the point now where you can start thinking about one stopping if you haven't already got the medium tyres off. So maybe C-Mac and Trauger are going to be thinking of doing that potentially at this point. It's certainly doable from this sort of distance. Yeah, we're looking at 19 laps for the guys who have just pitted, 18 laps for those who still haven't. So it's definitely on the cards, I think, for these guys to be able to get these to the end. So Clen here still out the front. 3 seconds his gap over Badman. Badman's bringing that gap down quickly. He is tearing after him at the moment, is Badman. Started on the hard tyres. Obviously his tyres are going to still be in good shape at the moment. Clen's now into the pits for some hard tyres. So Clen almost certainly going to be one stopping now, I reckon. Badman will also be one stopping. I would have thought we'll be trying to go to at least lap 18 on these hard tyres, maybe a bit further, so then he can have some mediums that are in good shape towards the end of the race. We've got Scott also in the pits to get his medium tyres off. Does G.C. come in as well? G.C. no, staying out. G.C. wow, he's going a long way on those medium tyres. See what White Shadow does. White Shadow's been on these also since the first lap of the race. And White Shadow's coming in to get those medium tyres off. And the only other driver on the mediums is Mango, but I think we're no, we're not ghosting. Okay, thought that was the AI in the car for a second. I think it was, but not a disconnection, which is good to see. So what does Mango do? Is Mango coming in? Yep, we're coming in. So that just now leaves G.C. of those who started on the mediums to still be yet to pit. Badman's come out. We're still out there in P1 at the moment. We've got Clen, who's come out 6.5 seconds behind Ernie, 7 seconds-ish behind Ernie at this point. Obviously Ernie's got a 4-lap undercut, so that's to be expected. But Clenon's going to have faster tyres for this whole stint. Ernie probably will have to 2-stop, because 22 laps on the hard tyres I think would be a bit of a stretch. But obviously he'll be able to push more for those stints, but he's going to be losing time obviously in the pits as a result. But nonetheless an interesting first 15 laps here to this Singapore Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. As we see G.C. now into the pits here at the end of lap 14, so getting the hard tyres on. 17 laps left to go here. So yeah, those will get comfortably to the end without any dramas at all. For once, G.C. won't be having to nurse his tyres to the end. He should be pretty cosy come the end of the race. Clen closing up onto the back of Rexy Boy here. Rexy Boy still yet to pit, so Clen shouldn't have too much troubles here getting himself into third place for the time being. Ernie will still have to pit. Badman, the race leader, has to pit. Badman will be, I reckon, looking to go as long as he can, because he'll want that fresh tyre delta on Clen in the closing stages if he's going to hunt him down and try and secure the championship here tonight. As Clen here looking to the outside on Rexy Boy, he's going to try and go around the long way here. He's got better grip, his tyres are in much better shape, and that's going to be an easy move there for Clen as he gets himself up into third place. And didn't need much encouragement there. Badman 16 laps into this stint on the hard tyres. Is he going to come in at the end of this lap, or will he? I reckon he'll give it another 2 laps. I reckon he'll come in lap 18 personally. He's got a bit of traffic here as Badman. That's Mango just up ahead. which I'm sure will not be a problem. Jogger here still on the back of C-Mac at the moment, as these guys coming towards the end of lap 17 of the race. Just got a good chance here through this next sequence of corners. Jogger obviously on similar age tyres to C-Mac. C-Mac's holding on for the time being. These two just half a second apart as they come down the start finish straight here to start what is their 17th lap of the race actually. So the leaders on lap 17. But he's going to have a good chance here as Jogger to try and make the move. And get a good exit here, then he'll be setting himself up beautifully. Bit of DRS here down Raffles Boulevard. Is he going to be close enough? Just a little bit too far back I think at the moment. And Jogger's going to have to continue to wait a little bit longer in that one as C-Mac there very, very wide. Could have potentially got a warning for that one, that's for sure. Badman currently 2 seconds ahead of Ernie. Obviously Ernie has already been into the pits. Badman still yet to make his pit stop here in this race. Is he going to come in this time around? Yes he is. And in fact C-Mac is out of the race and we've got a safety car. So Badman has just had the race handed to him, the race lead handed to him, and Clen's going to come into the pits, so that's going to reset everything now. So the disadvantage that Badman's got is he has to run the medium tyre for this final stint. The other two, Ernie and Clen, oh, Ernie's put the softs on. What on earth is he doing? He must have done that by accident. That must be a mistake. Ernie's gone for the soft tyre. Clen's gone for the hard tyre. That's the one that makes the most sense because over well, it's probably going to be an 11 lap race to the end. So over an 11 lap stint, the hard tyres will be quicker than the mediums. But the soft tyre, I don't know what on earth Ernie's trying with that one. Matty Pitts stayed out on 5 lap old hard tyres. Clen might be held up a bit trying to get past him as the race resumes, which could buy Badman a bit of time here. But Badman's tyres are going to be shot compared to Clen's in the final few laps of the race. So this is going to be fascinating to see how Badman's tyres hold up, because Clen will be coming after him, but Clen will initially struggle at the beginning of this stint. So it's going to be fascinating. But as it stands, Badman is in a championship taking position. If he finishes ahead of Clen in the top 3, so first off he has to be in the top 3, second he has to be ahead of Clen. But if he finishes 3 points ahead of Clen tonight, he is the champion of Purple Sector of season 14. So this one is it's going to be exciting, I'll tell you that. It's going to be exciting to see how it unfolds. Yeah. Who did that? Right, here we are everybody. So we're moments away from the restart here at the Singapore Grand Prix for the Purple Sector Formula 1 League here tonight. Round 18 up this 24 round season here for season 14 as we've got Badman on the medium tyres, which aren't going to be great for a stint of this length, but a little bit better than Ernie, who's on the soft tyres. Not quite sure what he was thinking there. Matty Pitt just behind on slightly worn out hard tyres. Glenn on fresh hards, which are going to be brand spanking condition all the way to the end of this race. So what can Badman do on the night when he could wrap up the championship here at Singapore at Purple Sector on these medium tyres, which are going to be a little bit worn out by the end of the race? He needs to drop the hammer and build as much of a gap and try and just take the money and run here. And Glenn is going to have to pick off Matty Pitt and Ernie before he can even think about trying to win this race here tonight, as he's got the Mercedes right in front of him here as they come through Raffles Boulevard, as Glenn's now going to look to the inside to try and make the move there on Matty, but Matty misses the apex, goes a little bit wide, keeps it in play, and Glenn for the time being unable to make that move, and this is buying Badman, well, precious seconds here in this battle for what's probably going to be the win here tonight between these guys. Ernie on those soft tyres is keeping with Badman at the moment, but those tyres are going to be absolutely wrecked within a few laps, and probably he'll have to come in and put another set of softs on. But Glenn at the moment can't negotiate. Matty Pitt hasn't found an opening here to make this move. He might have to wait until the DRS zone to be able to do it. There's Scott right behind these guys as well. But Glenn here trying to find an opening. Matty Pitt though holding firm very nicely for the time being. We're going to find a couple of corners they come. Matty at the moment has got the ascendancy here on the Aston Martin driver. Into turn one they come once again, but Glenn well within a second, so we'll be able to use that DRS in a moment. Let's check out Ernie here, because Ernie's well within a second of Badman, but Badman gets a good exit there and I think should be alright going into the next corner at the end of the straight. Glenn those all over Matty, and surely this is going to be a move here. A move which has taken a lot longer than I'm sure you'd have liked it to, but Glenn nonetheless is up into third place there with that one. Gets that job done as we see Rexy Boy trying to make the move here on Drauger as they're side by side. Drauger clings onto that one for the time being, but Drauger on his worn out tyres, I think is going to be a matter of time until Rexy Boy makes this move. He's round the outside at the next corner there, and Rexy Boy up into sixth place. Beautifully done there from him. That was easy move there from Rexy Boy. Do not see up to the inside, but can't make anything happen there on Drauger for the time being. But Ernie here still on the back of Badman at the moment, just under a second here between those two. See Scott there looking down the inside, and he's got a bit deep there as Scott, and that's going to give Matty the position back. So Matty there just coolly retook that position. Scott though still alongside him here, so going to be all the way down the straight here. Scott has made that move there with the DRS and is up into fourth place once again as these two continue to chop and change here. Glenn now well clear of these guys. Only 3 seconds off for the lead at the moment is Glenn as well. So he's very much got a chance here of going after the lead of Badman. Ernie on those soft tyres, still keeping to the back of Badman at the moment, but God knows how badly they're going to fall off when they do. But at this point in the stint, I would say that Badman's probably a little bit quicker than Glenn, but in a couple of laps you'd expect that the hard tyres will start to turn around a bit, and we'll start to see a swing of that pendulum. Ernie here trying to pull up onto the back of Badman a little bit here. He's got some DRS, but a bit too far away at this moment. There's Glenn Scott there in the background ahead of Matty Pitt with Maxi Boy. Still a long way behind him there in P6 for the time being, but Matty Pitt still keeping to the back of Scott. Scott on the medium tyres. Over the course of this stint, Matty's hard tyres will start to come back at Scott a little bit. But at this point in the stint, Scott will have the advantage and should be able to pull away a little bit here, you would think. Out the front, still under a second between Badman and Ernie. Ernie's hanging on to Badman for the time being, but you see him sliding a bit there. As the back end already starting to try and escape him here. Badman with over a 3-second gap to Glenn at the moment, so as things stand, Badman looking good. But in the closing stage of the race, I'm sure Glenn's tyres are definitely going to have a lot more confidence coming from them, and that will certainly help. But Badman at the moment with the gap almost 4 seconds over Glenn, so he's definitely making the most of his medium tyres at the moment, is the race leader. So Badman's now 1.5 seconds clear of Ernie at this point, and he's not able to hang with him for the time being. Glenn not really gaining on Ernie that much, to be fair. Just two and a bit seconds behind Ernie at this point is Glenn. Only 4 seconds off for the lead, but Badman at the moment is extending that gap out the front. As Glenn's gaining a bit on Ernie, gained about 4/10 through that final sector there, so he's definitely bringing himself into this fight here for second place on the road. Rexy Boy closing up onto the back of Matty once again here in this fight for 5th and 6th places. So obviously he's on 6 lap fresher tyres, is he? Rexy Boy, they're both on the hard tyres, but he's definitely going to have a little bit of a pace advantage here. Hello Nana, you alright? Hello. So Rexy Boy, they're getting a penalty for track limits as they're coming down the start finish straight. Looks to the inside here into turn 1, and Matty there keeping it around the outside. Rexy Boy can't make that move there. Glenn's now arrived on the back of Ernie in that fight for second place, but Glenn's now 5 seconds behind Badman, so he's left himself with a lot of work to do. I think Badman might have just secured the bag here tonight, as we see G.C. into the pits to get a new front wing here on lap 26. We've got a caution as well. Double waved yellow flags waving. I think it might be a VSC as well. But Glenn here is trying to get ahead of Ernie at the moment. But he's nearly 6 seconds behind Badman. So Glenn losing time and losing ground to his rival for this race win here tonight. And potentially his championship is going to be changing hands tonight as things stand. Glenn with a bit of DRS is now going to have to lunge up the inside, and he thinks better of doing that here on Ernie. Ernie a little bit wide, keeping it very much in play. Ernie's now got a 3 second penalty, so he wasn't keeping it very much in play. And Clen now's got the run as they come down towards the final chicane with a bit of DRS. Locks up going into the corner, but gets that move done, and Clen up into second place. Problem is he's 6 seconds behind Badman with only 5 laps left in this race as Ernie pits. No surprise there, putting the soft tyres on for the final stint. Badman's got 6 seconds. Clen will have the better tyres for these final few laps, but I think Clen's got too much work to do. And if Badman can continue to lead this race, obviously the lead given to him, you know, through quite fortunate circumstances for him due to the safety car being very well timed, but it's given him the lead and could be giving him the chance to wrap up the championship with 6 rounds to spare. Came in tonight with a 148 point lead in the championship over Clen. If it stays as it is, he'll have a 155 point lead going into the final 6 races with 150 left on the table. The championship will be over, and he will be adding a new name to the Purple Sector Champions Roll of Honour here. As Clen here just over a second ahead of Scott. Scott's managed to stick to Clen quite well actually over the last few laps, it has to be said. He's done pretty well, but the medium tyres are going to be struggling. Rex are almost running into the back there of Matty as they approach this DRS zone. He's a little bit too far away. We've got rain falling. I'm pretty sure I just saw some raindrops. Oh my goodness me. Well, it's very, very light rain at the moment. It shouldn't make a difference to proceedings or nothing of note, but there is definitely rain falling. Oh man, I mean, imagine if this derails someone like Badman, who could be about to win his first Purple Sector Championship. We got Scott in the pits here at the end of lap 27, nothing to lose. Roll of the dice there from Scott. Ernie, White Shadow and G.C. have all done the same. We're nowhere near the point of needing intermediate tyres at this point, but these guys trying to anticipate something in case the rain absolutely buckets it down suddenly out of nowhere. But for the time being, the leaders, or rather first and second, not feeling tempted to do anything. But one thing I found on this F125 game is that the tracks can be pretty treacherous even when it doesn't look like it on the camera. So, like for example, you see Badman sliding around, like, you know, visibly it doesn't look wet at all, but the actual track conditions can become very difficult when maybe the eye wouldn't suggest that it is. But I tell you what, Clen is really gaining now. This is where having better tyres makes an absolute huge difference. And Clen obviously on hard tyres, you know, he's barely scratched the surface on them. Badman, his medium tyres are going to be clinging on for dear life at this point, and he's still got to get them another 3 laps in these tricky, slippery conditions. What is Badman going to do? He's staying out for the time being. The rain is still drizzling very lightly, but with 3 laps left to go, only around 7 miles to go, potentially it might not be an issue. You can see it's slippery, but it's still not intermediate conditions, not yet. No spray. It's, you know, the track is still mostly dry, apart from the odd spot. Braking points are still pretty much the same. It's just picking up the throttle is now a different ball game, and steering inputs are having to be adjusted slightly as well. But Rexy Boy has got ahead of Matty up into P3. That's a job done there. Pretty sure DRS will still be enabled at the moment, but I think we're reaching that point where it might be turned off. We're sort of getting to that cut-off point now where race control have got to start thinking about turning DRS off. But the hard tyres still doing a very decent job at the moment. Scott is he's closing in a little bit on Trauger now on the inters, have to say. But the thing is he going to close? Is he closing enough to justify a pit stop? I don't think so. You know, he's probably gaining about 3 seconds a lap. That's not enough to justify a pit stop. Ernie has just crashed out of the race as well on his intermediate tyres. So pushing too hard clearly, and has had a bit of an incident. That's going to just buy Badman a bit of time here, because now we're going to have a VSC by the looks of it. In fact, no, it's cleared off straight away. So actually hasn't really bought him any time at all. But Glenn now under 4 seconds to Badman. These two just trying to get their tyres to the end if they can. Trying their best. Top 5 have all stayed out on their dry tyres. Scott is closing in on Drauga. He's gained about 4 seconds on that last lap, so he might be able to get Drauga right at the end. So he's just dancing around that first chicane. It's bonkers. Badman still looking good here out the front. Glenn pushing as hard as he can to try and prolong this championship a little bit, but as it stands, Badman will be your purple sector champion here for season 14. And what an achievement that would be for him. Obviously joined the league late last season as a late stand-in for the season, and ended up, I think, taking, must have been about 5 out of those 6 races I think he won in his, or maybe 4 out of 5. It was all but one race he won, albeit the Qatar one was quite a lucky one. But yeah, it was an incredible inception to the league, and then this season he just kicked on from where he left off in his late entry to last season, and he's currently a lap away here from the purple sector season 14 championship. Gap 3 seconds here. Glenn is closing it, but I think he's just going to run out of laps here with only one tour of this Marina Bay street circuit to go. So come through that first complex once again. Badman just needs to keep his composure here, keep his cool, and not get wound up here, because Glenn is not gaining enough, and I don't think he'll be, if he does get DRS, it'll be thick end of a second still. Too far back, I reckon. But gotta say, Glenn had the pace tonight, and if it wasn't for that safety car, I think he probably would have had a great chance of winning here tonight. He definitely was the quickest, you know, over the course of the entire race in the dry conditions, had it under control. That safety car was just poorly timed for him, but took a great pole position, and for sure I think can have his head held high. Had to miss a lot of races this season, did Glenn, and that kind of put paid to his championship charge. So it's not going to be 3 in a row for him. But in the absence of Glenn through many races this season, this man has stepped up to the plate absolutely brilliantly, winning practically every race that Glenn hasn't been here for, and capitalising at every opportunity. And at this point, coming into tonight with a 148 point lead in the championship, after tonight it will be 155 points. The driver who made his purple sector debut at Mexico last season is coming through the final few corners. His name's Badman. Tonight he's the baddest man in purple sector as he's coming around the final corner, and he's going to take the checkered flag here at Singapore, and it's going to be the championship as well here for season 14 here at purple sector. Congratulations to Badman. What a fantastic season as he takes it ahead of Glenn in second place, as Rexy Boy is going to come into the final corner here. It's going to be third place here, the final spot for the final spot on the podium for Rexy Boy, I think, unless the penalties are pending. So they all hold position there. Rexy Boy third, Matty fourth, Scott P5, with Drauga over in sixth place. So Matty just clung on there from Scott. Scott on those intermediate tyres was flying along at the end, but the pit stop there might have actually just been worth it. I don't know. Drauga came over P6. Mango is coming through the final few corners here. It's going to be 7th place here for Mango tonight. As we're still just a little way from the end of the lap. Here we go, final chicane. So Mango now. We'll see the checkered flag in a moment as he comes through the final 2 corners of the lap. He's just a couple of seconds ahead of White Shadow. That's Mango here, tiptoeing over the line on those medium tyres to finish in 7th. White Shadow gets 7th on the penalties. So Mango is 8th, and G.C. will be the last driver over the line here in 9th place. But tonight is all about Badman, purple sector champion for season 14. and a well deserved at that. With 6 races left in the season, you've got to say this season was nothing but domination here, and so big congratulations to him. And yeah, oh, what more can you say? What more can you say? But that is that. Thanks to Purple Sector as always for putting on a great show, and we'll see you all next week for the next round of the season, which I think will be COTA United States Grand Prix. So yeah, cheers everyone, and we'll see you then.